Good morning. It's 9:12 on a Monday, April 14th. I'm Rich Paz for Critical Point. Keep in mind that this, if you're getting this on the Podbean app, that's going away maybe as soon as the end of this week or at least before April 30th. The related website is going away. The subscriptions are no longer offered. You have to go to criticalpointpod.com. Sign up there. 3 types of subscription. One of them is for the stock market, Bitcoin, oil, all that stuff. And the other one is just for the grains. And the third subscription just combines the grains with all the stock and other financial markets in the economy, okay? So you can take your choice, manage your own account, go to criticalpointpod.com. In the future, I hope to get the blog up and running. I hope to put out little free newsletters and tidbits. But the good stuff and the signals and the alerts and some ideas how to make money and protect yourself, those will be locked up under those new subscriptions. All right, a little free commentary here, and I'll do less and less commentary, but I may still remind you where to go until I finally shut things down towards the end of this week on into near the end of the month. What I'm thinking of this morning is I've noticed consumer sentiment has been in a downtrend, although it's wild and crazy at times, has been down since 1990s. The interesting thing, I took a look at the middle class percent of GDP and the rich percent of GDP, and in 1990s there was a crossover. After 1990s, the rich GDP was moving up faster and high, and was already higher than the middle class. So the rich were worth more than the middle class, and they were also getting bigger portion of the economy, but there's less of them. So they're just sucking it up, okay? And it's gotten worse. You can just see the spread between the two. They're both going higher, no question about it. The economy's growing, and both are getting better in that regards, but the rich are just way now ahead, faster and faster and faster. And then I started thinking about productivity since, say, 1980s to date. You can see that the workers been cranking out more and more and more, but their pay hasn't kept up as fast as it used to. So this is a lot of supporting evidence of this inequality, the trickle-down economics that's never really worked, evidence that really this whole Republican stuff from 1980s to now, including the Trump MAGA, albeit they are a different kind of Republican. They pretty much destroyed Republican, and they think they're going to make things better, but it doesn't look like it can really follow through. It's kind of like just burning down the house, and we need somebody else to come in and we build a new house, okay? But you can see all of this is kind of supportive when I look at consumer sentiment, because it's really saying consumers have actually become depressed from 1990s to now. It's something to think about, consider about. I think we need to consider printing more money as a basic income to help raise minimum wage without forcing business to raise it all by themselves, meaning I think they should still be forced to raise it a little bit. The smaller businesses, maybe not, that it would be the larger businesses and higher income businesses that may have to raise it. I also think we ought to print money like $1 million each and put it in everybody's stock account for middle class and poor or below certain levels. Because they can never get caught up. I mean, the biggest problem of this whole pro-capitalist side is they messed up from 1980s to now saying, well, people will do the right thing. Well, no, normally they don't as a group, or it doesn't seem that way to me. So I'm thinking, they'll never get caught up. Stock market's way too expensive. They don't make enough money. They should have been buying in 20 years ago, okay? So the point is, you print the money and you give them money that's put into their retirement accounts. Now they can actually own some companies. They're now more involved with capitalism. That's one way for capitalists to, kick the can down the road for themselves, but it's actually a good thing that will go beyond that, all right, and can fit with a lesser capitalism or a new modernized, upgraded capitalism. But at least the pro-capitalism don't hate that idea of $1 million. They really ought to think about it. It might actually help them to hang in there a little better. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, we need to be anti-rich and we need to make some adjustments here. And for those of you who are worried about printed money, really how it works is the money's printed at the Treasury, goes to the federal government, they spend it and goes right into your and my pockets. It's part of the supply of money. That $36 trillion in debt is really inside of maybe $70 to $120 trillion of money that's out there. and it's real money. So it really isn't debt when the Treasury prints it, but it's shown as debt, and it scares the American people for no good reason. It's being used in a bad way. Even if it's debt, there must be an asset. What's the asset? It's the money. Money shows up in your and my hands and a debt on the government side. If it isn't real debt on the government side, it's just a way of showing it, we still find the same thing, that where did it go? And it shows up as actual money. So one way or the other, you get to, it's printed money. The money goes from the Treasury to the Federal Reserve as well, not just the federal government. Federal Reserve prints more money on it, gives it to the bankers. Bankers print even more money on it, and that's made available for you to borrow. But that's now the true debt. You and I have to pay that back, okay? And even those banks have to pay some back, okay? Somewheres there's a crossover from the government debt that really does not have to be paid back. It's owed to us ourselves, okay? And there's history of an English king in the 1600s that basically printed money. It was a debt. It was even paying interest on the debt, I think. I don't remember on the interest rate. But what I learned is that $2 million back 400 years ago would probably be worth $2 trillion now. They've never paid it off. All right. And, as far as I'm concerned, if it went 400 years without ever paying off, why in the world would you pay it off? That'd be dumb. Apparently, it truly was just printed money. And that happens at the government side, and the government can print all it wants to. It'll never go broke. You and I, on the other hand, can go broke because we have real debt. And we have too much debt, and we have to be scared more of the private debt than the government debt. Now, I'm not saying we allow the government to do anything and everything it wants because it can't go broke. Really, the taxes we paid are actually money that's erased, that they already got the printed money, spent it, taxes come back, and then it's just erased. So why do we pay taxes? Well, it encourages us to actually use the government's money, the U.S. money, the U.S. dollar, okay? I'm not so sure we even need that anymore. But over thousands of years, hundreds of years that they built these kind of money systems, they needed to encourage people to actually use money to do business. And it was a smart thing to do. It allowed us to do a lot more business, have a lot better economy, and advance ourselves. Otherwise, we'd still be sitting in a room with a candle lit at night and nothing else, okay? It really did make a gigantic difference. Now, another thing is, by us paying taxes, it forces us to wake up and then ask the government, well, what are you doing with all this money? So it helps to create a check and balance system. I'm not so sure we even need it anymore, but it's there, it's working, and it's not quite as negative as you think. Taxes can do a great, wonderful thing of rebalancing some of the bad things in business and in how we treat one another and how we run our country. Something else you should think about is this country no longer knows what it's like to have a civilization, a society, a culture, to be a nation, to have a lifestyle. We don't even know what those things are anymore. We're very obsessed and very self-trained to focus on just making money, working hard. I can tell you something, I look back over my life now, and I can see the periods I worked hard, I never really made a dollar. I mean, it was successful, I made it, but really, now, and working smarter and working less, I made more and more money, okay? And this country's got a real problem with just saying working hard. I don't want to hear that anymore. It's time to do something different. Work smarter. With all these robots, we better make it work smarter, because robots can create hell on earth, or they can create heaven on earth. I've said that for more than 10 years, okay? China's moving ahead. They got so many patents now. You chart it out. It's a gigantic explosion of patents. So don't give me that crap that they steal from us, copy from us. That's now old news. It may still be going, but it's not necessary. They've crossed a threshold with their better education than us, with their better health care than us, taking care of their people better than us, but they're also still taking care of business. They're mixing business into communism. They're mixing free market or market system. They're mixing capitalism in. They're coming up with a better combination of us. Come on, America, get your head screwed on straight. And don't be afraid to push back on rich and big business, because it's advertised that if you do that, you'll probably lose your job. I say, what the hell? Let's lose our jobs. If we have to crash and burn everything and really burn it to the ground, let's do it. Otherwise, I'm hoping we take a more civil route, and we're going to wrap this up in just the next few years here. We got an opportunity for a good 20 to 30 years. If we screw it up, I think it's going to screw up the rest of the century. We're going to have a lost century for the American people if we're not careful. All right. I don't like where we're going with this Trump MAGA stuff, even though some of it makes sense and some of it could be some good things. The overall basket is probably just burning down the house. We have to then step away from that, maybe even be against Trump and MAGA and Republican, try something else and rebuild the house of US of A. Have a great day. As far as the stock market, my vote is it's going down into May, June, then we will reevaluate. That could be the final decline before maybe some recovery later this year. So I'm trying to be optimistic when it's tough and we're probably at risk of heading towards a recession. Thank you. And again, I've been very happy with you, some of you being with me for 5 years now, but this type of site and the Podbean app stuff is going away. Got a brand new website. And for those of you who are new to this, I'm worried of losing you because I do away with that one website and address. Go to criticalpointpod.com. Get on board with us. Got some exciting times, and we're going to have to deal with bad times in this country and markets, and I think it can help with that. Thank you.